Hey guys, welcome back to the FIRL, your wormhole from TradFi to DeFi. Hope you had a great Chinese New Year. And in today's video, we'll talk about some of this crazy news, big happenings that has happened in crypto while we were all celebrating Chinese New Year, getting ang paos, getting fat through bakwa and chips, So before we begin the video, right, I just want to say whatever we discuss here, as always, should not be taken as financial advice. It's NFA, not financial advice. And if you want to get a financial advice, please seek a licensed professional financial advisor.
If you're interested in generating 19 to 20% of your money through crypto relatively safely, do consider downloading our free ebook, which you can find in the comment section or the description.
So there's a saying in crypto, right, that goes, a day in crypto is like a week in real life.
Yeah.
And that's exactly true with the amount of stuff that's happened over the past week in crypto. And we're going to talk about the first, the one that's really fresh out of the oven, just yesterday, literally, as we're filming this on the 10th of February. Terra, the chain that hosts the Luna token, Terra Luna, signs a 5-year, $40 million sponsorship deal with MLB team Washington Nationals. Yes. Do you watch baseball?
I don't, but of course this is positive to Luna holders, right? And crypto in general, right?
Yes.
Because what you're seeing a trend now with, I think the three most famous one would be Crypto.com with LA Lakers, the Staples Center, FTX Arena, which is the Miami Heats.
Yes.
And then what's the last one? I can't remember. Is there another one?
Not sure. I think, I wonder if the Brooklyn Nets are in talks to actually name the stadium something else as well.
So anyway, yeah, so so Luna now has become a sponsor, right, for the Washington Nationals, which is baseball, if I'm not mistaken.
Correct.
So I don't watch baseball at all, but I think it's good because it's giving a sense of, like, when people see like McDonald's or any other brand, car brand, whatever it is, it shows a certain type of power, right? And I think crypto is slowly reaching that status, bit by bit. And it's great that they're not just, starting at, some unknown company or some unknown sports team or whatever. These are literally right. I mean, LA Lakers. I don't know what the Washington Nationals are, like how they are ranked in MLB. I assume they're quite high up there.
Just go to their Twitter page now. When they announced their partnership with Terra Luna, just scroll down their comments. Every single one of them has like a moon on their names, and everyone says, "I just found my new favorite sport. It is now baseball 5 minutes ago." Wow. I mean, that's how degenerate crypto investors can be. But just a bit more details about this collaboration between Terra and the Washington Nationals, right? Yep. I think what's interesting is you and I think I did vote on the governance proposal. It is just through the community, right, that we all went to vote to agree upon Terra having this 40 million, taking the 40 million out of their existing reserve fund, right, to actually go through with this 5-year deal with the Nationals. And part of the agreement would be things like we might be adding Terra signs and logos inside the Nationals Park. So that'd be quite cool, right? Imagine seeing the baseball being hit in home run, it just hits towards the moon. Literally to the moon, bro.
Maybe the ball itself will look like I don't know.
Yeah, man.
But it's a good sign, and obviously it just shows that, Luna is not, it's not even a chain as big as like Ethereum, right? I think
Solana, right?
In terms of TVL, okay, in market cap, it's behind Solana, Cardano as well, right? If I'm mistaken. Yeah. Unfortunately, and Ethereum, right? But in terms of TVL, which is the total value lock, it is about nearly like 10 times smaller than Ethereum. So they're not even the biggest ones, and they're already making all these kind of headways. And it just show that crypto as a whole is starting to enter the big boys league a little bit more.
I mean, especially with Terra, right? Because if you know Terra, we've talked about it in the previous video, link on the top right.
Yep.
Terra is not just the Terra or the Luna token itself. Another big pillar of the Terra ecosystem is the UST coin, which is a crypto essentially that is tied towards a US dollar value. So one UST is one USD in short. What's interesting with this news report, right, this just came out yesterday, is that fans, or even people who watch baseball can now use the UST cryptocurrency to make purchases. I mean, one of the biggest struggles with using Bitcoin or Ethereum to buy something was the fact that their values fluctuate, right? And now that you can use a cryptocurrency that's pegged to the US dollar to buy, I suppose, hot dogs or beers in the baseball park, I think personally, not financial wise, it's quite bullish lah.
Yeah.
As a whole.
I also think it's something to track is whether or not, let's say, the stadium for Washington Nationals people will be able to buy hot dogs using USD, for example.
Yeah.
I doubt that will be the case, but you don't know, right?
Yes.
If, let's say, regulations become a bit more friendly, Luna will straight away tell Washington Nationals, hey, consider, allowing people to use their Terra wallet addresses to, send over money.
Yeah, man. I just to end on this point, right? I just say we live in a really crazy time because just a few months ago, Do Kwon, the founder of Terra Luna, just got sued by the SEC.
Oh yeah,
for whatever lah, okay, for just creating Terra Luna. Now they're sponsoring the baseball stadium in Washington,
Yeah.
and this is within a span of like 6 months' time.
Yeah.
That's why crypto happens.
And
real
I'm not
fast.
mistaken, the office for Washington Nationals is like right beside the SEC building
Yeah,
as well. So
man.
that's quite funny.
Life, man. You can't make this shit up, bro. All right. Did you know we have a vibrant, a very happening Telegram community called the DeFirl Degens? Yes, you can find the link to join the Telegram group in the pinned comments below.
Okay, so this next news, probably the biggest news in crypto over the past month. And some actually would argue that it is bigger over the past like 2 years. Or rather, it's the biggest news in the past 2 years in DeFi, not because of the amount involved. Actually, I believe no money was lost per se.
Yeah.
And but the significance and the people behind this project and the expectations and the trust that people had. So, for some context, Time Wonderland is what we call an Ohm fork. Another big topic, what Ohm is, but essentially, it is a fork of a previous successful project. And the name of the game for this sort of projects or protocols is to try and accumulate what we call permanent capital in the traditional world, or in the DeFi world, it's called protocol-owned liquidity. Long to short, it's liquidity that the protocol own, not owned by the users. So in other words, the liquidity or the money becomes permanent. And how they attract this is by going through this process called bonding, where people can trade in whatever assets that the protocol want to take in for a discounted price of the Time Wonderland tokens. And so you keep doing this and they keep emitting it. Now, why would people want the Time Wonderland tokens is because the APR, the returns you're getting a year, is somewhere close to like 60 to at a high of 90,000% a year. So that obviously is very interesting. Now that makes it inflationary, and obviously it's not going to be sustainable, but that's the whole idea. It's not meant to be sustainable because it just wants to find a quick way to generate capital that belongs to the protocol. So anyway, why do you want to generate permanent capital? Well, the reason you want to do that is because you then want to be able to invest. And so Time Wonderland the objective was to become an investment fund for what we call the Frog Nation. What is the Frog Nation? The Frog Nation is this idea that there is a bunch of capital that is not influenced by VCs, by regulations, by all these big guys, and it's influenced by frogs, right? Small people, right? Which is the opposite of whales, if you think
Would
about
you
it.
say investors like you and I in the protocol, are we considered?
Yeah,
everyone
frogs.
considered
And it's
frogs,
also it's a very philosophical concept. It's like frog represents what the true essence of crypto is, the small guy, right? Basically. So it was headed by one of the, if not the most influential guy in DeFi, which is Daniele Sestagali. He's an Italian guy that looks like a Mexican.
Put his face here.
Yeah. So and he has a lot of trust because he had built protocols before where it got hacked and he personally funded all of it. So what was happening was that the project was actually really successful. It is probably the most successful Ohm fork, and it accumulated more than over $1 billion in its treasury, right? So that's the permanent capital, the protocol-owned liquidity that people were talking about, that I was talking about earlier. And so it was almost $1 billion, or over $1 billion actually, and it was managed by this guy who was not doxed, meaning we don't know his true identity, called 0x Sifu. His Twitter handle, his Twitter profile picture is the Sifu, Master Shifu from
Kung Fu Panda.
Kung Fu Panda.
Put his face here.
Yeah. So he was actually managing the treasury, right? He was like the
Yeah.
CFO essentially, and also like you can say the guy making the investment decisions. And from what I saw in Discord, he was very interactive with people, and he wasn't like losing too much money, and the things that he was doing was, was seem at least to be honest work, and like he really wanted to grow the community. Now, as you know, in January, the crypto markets or markets in general started to tank,
Yeah.
right? And what happened? Well, when there's tank, there's what we call FUD, and then there's a lot of people like being skeptical, conspiracies start to pop up. And suddenly this Twitter account called, let me see, yes, this Twitter account called ZachXBT exposed who 0x Sifu was. And he is actually the founder of this company called Quadriga X, which was a scam.
Yeah.
And he basically scammed hundreds of millions of people. This is in Canada. And his real name, I keep forgetting, is Michael Patrin.
Yeah.
So essentially, people didn't, obviously people are shocked. Like, how is a former criminal, a felon, going back all the way to 2005, he has been a scammer his whole life essentially, he's managing 1 billion, right? So because of that, people started dumping, and essentially what he was doing in the protocol was he was buying back Time Wonderland tokens because it was crashing, and as a result, and then someone found out about that, so that caused it to crash because they were taking out loans from Abracadabra, which is another Frog Nation protocol. And anyway, it's a lot of drama. I cannot summarize everything here. Basically, people were angry that he was there, and he was angry that Daniele, which a lot of people trusted, actually entrusted him. So how did Daniele try to explain all this? He said that he only found out a month ago from the review that he was like that.
It's a month freaking too long, man.
Yeah, so it's in the assessment of a lot of people, including Andre Cronier, which is the founder of Yen Finance and a very active coder or developer in the Phantom ecosystem.
Yeah.
He was very disappointed that Daniele took 1 month. It knew about this 1 month before it happened. Now, Daniele's reasoning is that he knew all about all this, but at the end of the day, he said that, look, people make mistakes, and he wants to give people a second chance, right? And to be fair, the way it was set up was that it was a multi-signature wallet to manage the treasury.
So he doesn't, by that you mean that OX Sifu cannot make a decision without it first being approved by maybe Daniele and
several
parties,
other people as well, right? There's like, I'm not sure how many, I was reading some, maybe 5 or 6, I didn't check on that, but there was more than just Daniele. So the idea that he would like run away with the money is very difficult because it's multi-sig, unless all the people managing it was acting in concert, then obviously it's possible.
Okay.
So my thoughts is that Daniele was naive. I think no one has done more to onboard people into DeFi. You know, him trying to save Sushi Swap, him trying to build Spell, what he did with Popsicle, returning people
These
money.
are all very popular DeFi
Popular,
dApps.
and I think that his heart is in the right place. And the thing that you need to understand about Daniele is that he is someone who was already rich before doing all this. He bought Bitcoin in 2011, so he doesn't need to scam people for more money, right?
Ahead, right?
And he's in my view, he's just naive, and it's a big learning lesson for him. I still believe that he is one of the best people spearheading the industry, but this is obviously a big setback for him because it's just naivete. So to all you Time shareholders, you don't have to worry. We also bought into Time.
Coping together, guys.
Yeah, so but I do know now they are trying to have a version 2.
Okay.
Because they recently had a vote to dissolve it. A lot of people are unhappy. So Daniele is actually now, again, helping out the people who voted no to create a solution for that.
Like it's destiny to always fix the mistakes that, well, he inadvertently caused as well, right?
Yeah.
Through Popsicle Finance as well, which is another one that got hacked.
Correct. So the learning lesson now is that I think a trend in crypto that began was the beauty and the whole idea behind, unknown people, bunch of JPEGs just working together to produce a functioning product. I think those days will still be relevant, but it should shrink in importance really, because at the end of the day, if you're managing billions, you want to know who's doing it, right?
Yes.
And all Daniele had to do, right, this is my theory, right, was that, look, the reason all this pop up is because the whole market is crashing and time is crashing. So my thesis was that if Daniele revealed all of this about Sifu when time was at 10,000, I think no one or very few people will care. What people will say is that, wow, look at Daniele, right? Like, he gave ex-criminal a chance, and now he's proving himself with time Wonderland being so high. And I think if he had done that in hindsight, I think today won't be as bad, the situation. But it was just, like, you know, it's just chaos, right? Like, one thing led to another, and the entire thing just exploded. So, yeah, that are my long... Actually, I left out a lot of details, to be fair, because there's a lot of things going on. There's that whole... that people were skeptical about whether or not Time Wonderland, like Spell, which is another important protocol, was linked to Wonderland as well. Are they also in cahoots or whatever? So when bad things happen, conspiracies start to spread. I think we should all stay rational, but you know, yeah, those are my thoughts, right? I just think that it's a good lesson for me. I think for anyone listening who participated or didn't, it's not enough to just look at the main guy. I think you need to look at some of the key lieutenants as well. And if they are not dogs, if you don't know the identity, it doesn't mean you don't invest. It just means you are aware. So, for example, I knew there were a lot of things I didn't know about Time Wonderland, because I don't participate in the Discord servers as much as I should. So I didn't put a lot of money, right? It was something like 4% of my portfolio. And so, like, me losing 60-70% of that, it's not really a big deal, because it's only 2 to 3% if you calculate, right, of the percentage that I put in.
All right. Nice. Quite detailed sharing, I have to say.
There's actually so much more I missed out. I can bet you those who are following this story closely will probably find holes in what I just said. But
maybe you can share in the comment section down below.
Yeah, let us know what you think, if you are a shareholder or if you are just an observer. Hello guys, enjoying the video so far? If yes, remember to share with your friends, and of course like, comment, subscribe, click on the notification bell so that whenever new videos come out, you know immediately. And of course, if you hate these kind of videos, let us know why you hate it as well, so we can improve.
So this last news is a little bit more like a happy ending to the mini sad story that we shared on Time Wonderland. So the headline reads, the US accuses couple of laundering 4.5 billion in Bitcoin tied to a 2016 hack. And for context, right, in 2016, this exchange called Bitfinex was hacked off 120,000 Bitcoin, give and take. And back then, the value of it was $71 million in Bitcoin, which is not a small sum, of course, but it has, at the current time as of recording at February 10, right, it is now 4.5 billion, which is an easy, if my math's right, 60x of your investment since then. No, actually, it's a infinity X, because the Bitcoin wasn't owned by them to begin with, right?
So the cost of hacking, that was their cost.
Yeah, but the story goes beyond that, because to what I'm understanding is that if you're able to hack this amount of Bitcoin from an exchange, you should be somewhat of a big brain to be able to kind of cover your asses and not be traced back to the original crime that you did. But Ilya Lichtenstein and his wife, Heather Morgan, they're only 34 and 31 years old.
Nice.
They were arrested in Manhattan on Tuesday morning because they spent the illegal proceeds on items ranging from gold to NFTs to a $500 Walmart gift card.
Wow.
That's amazing, man. And the couple has active public profiles. Morgan, the wife, is a rap singer known as Razzle Khan, a pseudonym that she said on the website referred to Genghis Khan, but with more pizzazz. And I suppose the reason why I want to share this story is because I think when I share about Bitcoin or crypto to a lot of my families and friends, right, a lot of things the first few things that comes to mind is the fact that they can use it for, people use Bitcoin for illicit activities, right? Money laundering and just, you know, it's like the dark society of the world. They use Bitcoin to kind of transfer and do transactions. But this is a great story because even the Department of Justice, the Deputy Attorney of the Department of Justice, came out and said that, and gave a resounding support to the fact that cryptocurrency is not a safe haven for criminals, because you can kind of trace everything back to the source or where the transactions actually occur. MJ, do you have any thoughts on this?
Yeah, I think it's a win for crypto that it can. The irony is that because, like, a lot of people like to talk about what's a blockchain, right? People say, oh, crypto good, crypto bad, blockchain good. But, you know, blockchain is just an account, a very elaborate, very detailed, and a very reliable method of recording transactions. And guess what that is? That's just accounting, right? It's just digital accounting, essentially. So if you've got an international, immutable, transparent, reliable, unhackable accounting system that provides a good soil for regulators to essentially track down people,
Yes.
right?
Yep.
You give them a big part of big clues about the behavior of the criminal. So this is a classic case of perhaps regulation, like catching up to crypto and actually now using crypto as a way of, you know, finding frauds. And think about it, right? Like the fraud happened in 2016, right?
5-6 years ago.
It took 5 years. Certain frauds in the pre-blockchain era
Yeah.
remain unsolved, right? So this is a great case of, you know,
Yes.
using technology, which was ironically used to create anonymity, now becoming something that regulators use very smartly in this case, obviously, right?
Yeah.
And it's a great integration of regulation and what crypto is trying to achieve. Because I think the whole idea of crypto escaping regulation doesn't make sense. At the end of the day, if you want your bags to pump, okay,
You need regulations to be involved
yes,
as well.
the reason is that once regulation comes in, that opens the door to the wider public. People
Correct.
who don't know how to use wallets, people or don't want to go through the hassle of using wallets.
Not
and all
everyone's
that.
going to write a seed phrase down the paper and keep it in the safe and remember a
Yeah,
password.
and not just that, like interact with DeFi protocols and all that. Like nobody's going to do that. But yet you want your tokens to pump, right? And the only way it pumps is that all these other people, billions, all these other people to come in. And the only way to do that is to ensure that there's some sort of regulatory framework that makes it comfortable, reality or perception, whether or not the regulation actually makes it better, right? But the fact of the matter is people are more comfortable once it's regulated. And so it's a great integration. So now I think it's a step forward.
Yeah. Collaborate, not compete, man. Yeah, that's what.
Yeah.
That's what we should be focused on to move the whole ecosystem forwards. All right.
Yeah, guys, if you enjoyed the video, remember, share it with your friends. And, you know, we got Instagram channel, we got Telegram as well. And, you know, if you want us to do other type of content, just let us know in the comment section. And, of course, see you in the next video.
Ciao.